Hey, good Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across the Gulf Coast all the way up to Oklahoma today. So that severe risk will mainly be down anywhere from Texas, moving into Louisiana at this point, and then into the Ozarks. Storms will be isolated today, posing all hazards here. We've got that hail, tornado, and wind risk, just like what we saw yesterday, but in a different location than yesterday. We've got a tornado zone that's mainly up in the Tulsa area, so eastern side of Oklahoma and to the western side of Arkansas. And then tomorrow, that storm risk shifts out to the east. Now, when is the last time that we have not had storms in Texas? It's been a while. Even tomorrow gets storms in southern Texas. But really, it is an East Coast setup for tomorrow. Hey, real quick, we are doing a giveaway. We are celebrating our 15-year anniversary here at Hail Trace. So we want to give back to our clients, and we're doing a giveaway. It's a drone with a 4K camera on it. This drone comes with a stabilization gimbal. It's really, really impressive. I think it retails right around $600, and it's a giveaway. So all you have to do to enter into this giveaway is record a video or write a post about how Hail Trace has helped your company succeed. Tag us in that on any of our social media platforms. Tag Hail Trace. And then also use the hashtag 15 years of Hail Trace. So we are celebrating 15 years here, and we are so excited to do so. That is how you enter in to win that drone. Now, moving on to the storm reports over the last, we'll talk about this entire year, and we'll talk about yesterday as well. But we have officially reached over 2,000 storm reports so far this year, technically 2,059 for hail. So we have officially reached over 2,000 storm reports for hail so far this year. 66 of those hail reports came in yesterday, and 300 so far this month. So the first week of May, we reached over 300 hail reports. 4 tornado reports yesterday, 700 so far this year, and 20 in the month of May. We've got lots of wind reports on there as well. Watch as we change from 1,000 storm reports just about a month ago to another 1,000 adding on there. Yeah, we've seen a lot of activity over the past month, and our Mets have been very, very active tracking that activity for you. They have all of those storms mapped at hailtrace.com. So let's take a look at the 24-hour storm reports. What did we see yesterday? What did I say? Like 66 hail reports yesterday. Those all started really early in the morning out in Dallas, where we saw up to ping pong ball size hail across the northern side of the metro. Then as we headed throughout the rest of the day, we watched this line of storms, first with a wind risk, but there was some hail mixed in. We saw several of those hailstorms across southern Louisiana, even as far north as Shreveport. A very busy day yesterday. We even saw storms up in the northeast near New York, or in the southern side of New York yesterday. So it was a pretty busy day. Actually, one of the most impressive storms that we saw yesterday was down in Lafayette, Louisiana, and that was actually a 3-star hailstorm. So here's a look at that hailstorm highlight. We'll pull up the map here. That's the map that you'll see at hailtrace.com. Our Mets mapped that as that storm was passing through Lafayette and Baton Rouge yesterday. So the areas that it impacted the most was Lafayette, Benton, Prairieville. We had golf ball size hail from this storm, and over 56,000 homes were impacted here. So we saw a pretty impressive storm down in Louisiana. And of course, that map is also at hailtrace.com. All right, let's get to your current conditions. Rain across the Gulf Coast right now. We saw those storms in Houston early this morning. We told you about that yesterday, and I think that our forecast for Houston was pretty accurate yesterday. We told you that there would be storms right around lunchtime, early afternoon, another round later on in the evening and late night hours, and then a third round early this morning. So we're finally wrapping up all of that rain in Houston. That is all moving out to the east and into Louisiana, and then we've got some rain up in Kansas as well. So there's all of that rain moving through New Orleans right now. We did have a severe thunderstorm in New Orleans about an hour or 2 ago. We've got storms going up over the eastern side of Florida. We'll talk more about that here in just a few minutes. And then a low pressure system moving out to the north and east. This rain down in the northern side of Oklahoma, so into Kansas, just rain. That's all that it is. It's not going to go severe. However, we could see a few isolated severe storms out in the eastern side of Oklahoma later on, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes as well. 64 degrees right now in Oklahoma City. We've got warmer temperatures down to the south, but wait until you see the temperatures next week. It's going to be a lot hotter next week. Yeah, we're not just saying warm, we're saying hot at this point. Here's your rain right now down near Lake Charles into New Orleans. Let's move up to Kansas. You can see that we've got some light to moderate rain showers out here as well, but nothing is severe at this point. Watching for severe storms near Tulsa later on today, but you're dry right now. We've gotten a lot of rain across eastern Texas and western Louisiana yesterday. Pretty impressive rainfall totals. Whoo, southern Louisiana. Maybe some minor flooding out there as well. So this is what we're watching for today. Two areas to keep an eye on. Anywhere from the eastern side of Texas into Louisiana. We saw those storms move through a few hours ago, and we may see some storms later on today as well. Definitely rain. I'm not quite sure how severe they'll go. Afternoon to the late night hours, we're still watching for eastern Oklahoma and to the western side of Arkansas. So let's take a look at that risk here. Future radar showing more storms popping up in eastern side of Oklahoma today. And then tomorrow, that becomes more of an East Coast risk. I told you southern Texas all the way through most of our Gulf states and then even into portions of our East Coast states. Let's take a look at your hazards. Here's your significant hail model today. Looking more impressive down in the southern portion of the U.S., but really, we're done with rain down here. I'm not too worried about the large hail down here. You may see some hail up in Oklahoma. I think that'll be the most promising areas for hail today. We'll take a look at it, but it's a pretty low risk for today. I brought that hail size down to hen egg sized hail. I think that's stretching it. Honestly, I think that we could get up to ping pong, maybe golf ball size hail today. If we were to see larger hail, that would be up in the Oklahoma and Arkansas area. Smaller hail farther down into Louisiana and out in Florida. But that larger hail could be up in Oklahoma. We'll see. I put it as a pretty low risk today. Low risk for rain here in Oklahoma City. We'll probably stay dry in Oklahoma City. Tulsa, you may have a better chance for rain, but again, that large hail risk is just not very promising. Maybe with these storms down on the southern side of this, these storms will be pretty sporadic, but on the southern side here, you may see some larger hail. So I put Fort Smith at a moderate risk, a level 2 risk. You can see some high wind with that as well, but I think that the better chances for high wind will actually be down in Florida, where we have storms going up on the eastern side of Florida right now near Jacksonville, and that could stretch down to the south, and that's where I think the better chance for high wind will be later on this afternoon. So we've got storms going up right now, but I think that this will continue over the next few hours, and we'll take a look at that in just a few minutes. We also have a tornado risk today as well. It's a level 1 tornado risk from Tulsa all the way down to Fort Smith, Oklahoma City, not included in that. However, if you go north on 35 up to Guthrie, you are included in that risk. And if you go east on the Turner Turnpike, you are also included in that risk. So here's a look at your future radar today. We talked about all of that rain happening in southern Louisiana right now, really hugging the Gulf Coast or even off into the Gulf right here, right? So you could continue to see these showers move to the east today, but one thing that we haven't talked about too much are those storms down in Florida. So right anywhere between the northern side up in Jacksonville all the way to Daytona, that is where we're going to see some isolated severe storms today. A few of these could have some strong wind gusts and maybe squeeze out some small hail as well. But that's going to be your biggest risks out in Florida, will be those higher wind gusts. Let's go up to Oklahoma now. So let's take a look at those storms in Oklahoma today. These are going to be hard to spot. You're going to see some light showers, kind of a dreary day in the Tulsa area this afternoon. A few of these showers could be stronger, maybe even go severe, where they squeeze out some hail, $half size to ping pong ball will probably be the most likely large hail sizes today. Could we see golf ball? Maybe. It's a pretty low chance though. This risk will shift to the east as we head after dinner time and into the late night hours. We're talking right around sundown, right around the Oklahoma and Arkansas state line, but then into Arkansas as we head into the later hours. I would say anywhere between dinner time all the way to bedtime, that's whenever we see those storms out in the western side of Arkansas. And moving on to your risk for tomorrow. So here's your future radar for tomorrow. I told you that that risk moves down to the south and off to the east, still covering a lot of states for tomorrow, but the risk for tomorrow looks a little bit different than today. While it's still covering a lot of states, I think it's going to be a low tornado risk, low hail, pretty low wind risk as well. We'll keep an eye on it. Of course, we'll have your forecast for tomorrow, and we'll give you updates throughout the day today as well, but we always do a noon forecast, so we'll talk more about tomorrow in tomorrow's forecast. Next week, I think that, yes, okay, we're talking about next week now. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today is that we have had a pretty stagnant weather pattern where we have seen storms down in Texas, maybe moving up to the southern plains, and then eventually moving out to the east. And it seemed like we have had just these storms down in Texas and maybe a few other places, but mainly out to the south and east, maybe along the east coast. For several days now, we have stayed in this pattern where it's the same states getting hit over and over. This is going to change as we head into next week, as it does look like a more impressive trough is moving in. So what we're going to watch for here are these low pressure systems associated with a trough. So you can see a low forming down in the Gulf. Not terribly impressed by this. Got a low up in the northeast moving into Canada by this weekend. Not terribly impressed with that either. What we're really watching for is this trough that's moving off the west coast and then slowly into the central portion of the U.S. That's going to change up our pattern a little bit. It's going to bring us some warmer weather. You can see this ridge starting to pack in here, and that's going to bring us some warmer weather as well. Temperatures are going to go up. But then we have, of course, that heat could play into severe weather as we head into the middle of next week. Now, nothing is set in stone yet. This is still 7 days out. Still, it's something to keep an eye on as we head into your next work week, okay? So come back for the forecast. We will be keeping an eye on this over the next few days, and we'll get more information on this as we head into the next few days as well, as this event gets a little bit closer. But if we take a look at next week, we know that temperatures are warming up. We have a pretty good likelihood to be above average for those temperatures across most of the U.S. The most important places here, the plains. Okay, we've got warm weather across the plains. Now, something that is interesting to me is we won't have above average moisture, which we often need for storms. But this time of the year, we may not need that, okay? We've got plenty of moisture that's surging up from the Gulf. So this time of the year, it doesn't take a lot to produce storms, right? It's spring. It doesn't take all of those ingredients that we may need to really work for other times of the year. I'm not terribly worried about that moisture concern, but it is something to keep an eye on. And there's your forecast. Don't forget about that giveaway, drone giveaway. How do you enter? How do you enter into that drone giveaway? There you go. Record a video or write a post about how HailTrace has helped your company succeed, whether you are a brand new customer or if you've been with us for the last 15 years. Tag us in that post, tag HailTrace on any of our social media platforms, and use the hashtag 15 years of HailTrace. That is how you are entered to win that drone. Pretty impressive get there. And follow us on all forms of social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. And if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map, head over to hailtrace.com or give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. We have wind, tornado, and hail maps. We have meteorologists mapping 24/7, so all of those are up to date. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. We'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow.